Okay, so write a static method called generate that takes a console scanner as a parameter and that asks a user to pick a number between -5 and 5 inclusive. Okay, so it means 5 is inclusive. Inclusive means included, showing a sequence of random numbers in that range until the user's numbers come up and returning how many numbers it generated. So as the situation will be random, so for example, you say you're asking user to enter a number, which number from, -5 to 5, and you're like, let's say I say 3. So as it's a dice, take random number as a dice, it's throwing it again and again, and how many tries it will take to get that 3. So every time you will run the code as you're using the random, every time it will be different. So you need to count how many attempts did it take to give you the number 3, which as a user, I said, I want number 3. Okay, the method should construct use a random object. So you have seen one slide of random. That's it. That's what Java talks about random in that one slide. Because that's the only thing we want to know, that how to generate or make that one thing random. I will show you, we'll do the code and then you will see, yeah, that slide was enough. To random object to generate the numbers. For example, if you execute the following code, so as I mentioned, you don't have to get scared with the bigger question, like it's just going to the whole page. It's sometimes easier in a way. They have so much information in it, like it's easy, like half of the coding you can identify from here. So as you can see, look, they have mentioned if you execute the following code, so the following code is like scanner console equals to new scanner system.in, and this is your method call. You're passing this scanner console. This is how you will pass to this method. This is the method we have to write. You would see interaction like this. So when you run your code, you will be like, number between -5 to 5. What number you want? As a user, I said 0. So backend, this is your code. So we don't know how many times this is gonna run. It's just like a dice. So it's running 5, -2, 0, 0, looking for 0, 0, 0, 0. There's no 0. As you found 0, your loop's gonna exit and it will print that how many tries it took for this run to print or get 0. So just think about the random thing, because these are all random numbers. When you run the same code, maybe it will take 1 try, maybe it will take 3 tries. So the only thing is we need to count. Now, when you are reading a code, there are some couple of things you need to understand, which I tell my students, like you need to keep on writing on the side, on a paper maybe, that what are the things you need came up after 10 tries. So it means we have to do the count. So it means we need a counter variable. It will be int count because we are doing a count, like it's not going to be a double count, or it's not going to be a string or character. It's a count, just like you're doing a counting for something, just like you're counting like this. So it's going to be, we need a counter variable who's going to print 10 tries or 5 tries or 6 tries, something like that. Notice that the user is prompted from a number and enters 0, the method that generates a random sequence of number in that range until the user's numbers come up, showing the sequence of numbers. So it means you have to show all the numbers as well when you were doing the random, when you applied the random, what number it was picking. So it means we have to display those numbers as well. Then it reports and returns how many tries and numbers were generated. The variable's result would be set to 10. It is possible that the numbers will be generated immediately as in. So for example, this is your another example, how when you run the code again, it will ask, enter a number between -5 to 5, and you said -5, and it just took 1 try. So just think of random as a dice. You never know when the 6 gonna come, or 1 gonna come, or 3 is gonna be there. Okay, any question on this question? Like anything that is confusing, anyone who's confused, how to solve it, how to get started, or maybe like, I don't even know what this question is asking for. You need to understand the question first, what this is asking for, chop it down, and then, we'll work on it. As you can see, something that is being printed again and again, right? What do you think we need here? Use the chat or unmute yourself. What do you think we need here? This is something you're repeatedly printing. We need a loop. Now, this is a good point that you have figured out that in this whole question, one thing we need is a scanner. The other thing we need is a random. The third thing is the loop. And which loop do you think? Which loop do you think? This is your second thought. Like which loop? If I'm writing a code, which loop do you think? While loop. The reason for while loop is, as you can see, this is your run one where it printed like 10 times. The second run, it just printed one time. So we don't know how many times it's going to run and print. So when we don't know how many times our code's going to run, we use while loop. Now, after figuring out that we have to print, use a loop, while loop, that's going to be a while loop, came after 10 tries. So it means, what do we need here? We need a counter variable, right? So it will be a counter variable who's going to count how many times this loop has run. Okay, how many times? Look what this counter variable is counting. This loop, this was your loop, right? It ran like 10 times. So that's what it is counting. Then it ran one time. So that's what it is counting. So do you understand how to get started with the code? Do you understand the question? Let me use the poll, the reactions, thumbs up, green check mark, so that we can start and jump onto our coding. Everyone understood the question, and what is our task? Yes. Now we will open our Eclipse. Okay, don't mess up the attendance sheet. Hopefully everyone has written their name on the attendance sheet. So as no one mess up, I'm just taking away your editing rights. Okay, so, okay, now can you see my Eclipse? Let me pull up the chat at all this, and the participant list. Okay, now I can see the thumbs up, thumbs, reaction. Okay, now you are, okay, have you taken the screenshot or do you remember the question? Do you want to take the screenshot of the question or you're fine? You remember what are the things we need? Now you're gonna tell me, what do we need? How to get started. As it says, write a static method, which most of you are not aware. Static method is a very small topic. So static methods are usually outside of the main method, but inside of the class. You define them as public, static, and depending on the return type that what you are returning. Are you looking at my Eclipse? Yes. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that I'm sharing the right screen. Okay. Okay. So do you want the screenshot of the question or are you fine? It says public static. Now, let me share the screen again. The question again. Okay, take a look. Write a static method called generate. So this is your static method name generate that takes a console scanner. It means this is a parameter which will go inside of parentheses. You don't have to understand the method and the concept of static method. If you don't understand it right now, that's totally fine. But it's just going to, I will just going to give you a glimpse of what this, this is one just piece of code which you are separating it from the main method, okay? Console scanner as a parameter and then ask a user to pick a random number between -5 and 5 inclusive. So now let's go back to our Eclipse. So instead of static method, we can do it without the static method if you want. Let's see. We can do it without the static method, because static method is, I think it's in one book which I adopted, it was chapter 1. And it just let the students start with the static method because not that bigger topic as compared to loops. And in Revel, it's chapter 6, which I don't understand why. It should be earlier in the class. So let me open the chat and the participant list on the side too. Again, we just go back and forth. Okay, now what do we need? We need random, we need while loop, we need a counter variable, and that's it, right? So let's get started. Scanner input equals to new scanner. Now we will use this scanner to take the value from user, right? The scanner will, the user can say, I want number 5, maybe the stopping point, number 0, whatever that we will say it as a target. As we are only working with integers, because as you saw in both of the runs, there was no decimal number. We are only working with integers. So let's say int target equals to input dot next int. This is taking the value from user, open close parenthesis. And before that, remember, whenever we are taking value from user, we have to display a statement system.out.println, and we will say enter the target number. Okay, so this is where it's going to display. User is giving us the target number. Nothing new so far, right? Enter the target number, and whatever the target number is, if we see that target number, we will stop. But meanwhile, what we have to do, we have to keep on moving and running the loop and generate random numbers. So we have to create a random object. How you create a random object? You say random r equals to new random, open close parenthesis, semicolon. And let's read the error. Let me figure out, I think it's in the java.util package. So instead of doing java.util.scanner, you can remove scanner and say dot star. Okay, dot star means all the files in utility package. So now the error is gone. So scanner and random both are in the util package. Now we have the random object. Do we have a limit? This is how you create the object. Random is a class in Java, just like you created a scanner object. New means it's a object, and object of this random class. Now, what is our range? Do we have a range? Or it's like off limit? Because random is open. It just goes till the limit of whatever the number you want. In the question, what was our limit of generating random numbers? -5 to 5. Yes, it's -5 to 5. So if you recall that one slide which we did, how you set the limits, how you set the starting point and ending point. How you set the starting point and ending point. As no one in the chat? Okay, so as we are dealing with the negative numbers as well, so we will make sure that the numbers are integers. So it will be, let's say, whatever the next number is equals to giving it just a variable who's going to hold each and every number every time. So this is our object who's going to work with you, just like input was doing. To collect the input, it will be r dot. As you can see, you have a bunch of other options. So what you want r to hold? I want r to hold the next int, and what's the limit and where we want to go. So it's going to be, what's the limit? How you set the limit? Remember a plus b, something like that. That's the starting point. So what is your a? It's 5 plus, chat is really blank. No one is responding in the chat. Negative, yeah, it is -5 to 5, but how you will set your the values, how you will set the values. It was a plus b, and as it is inclusive, so we will say 11 here, and let's say -5, because remember it was +5 if you want to go above. Right now we want to deal with the negative numbers as well. So that's why it's going to be 11, like 5, a plus b, which is 5 plus 5 is going to be 10, and we want 10 to be included, like the number 5, because you have minus -5 plus +5. So it's going to create, to get the negative number as well, you will do 11 minus 5. Now we need the loop, and your loop is while loop. When to stop? What's the condition? When your loop will stop? While what? Nothing in the chat. While what? So this is the number, one number this random has generated. We don't know what that number is. This next knows what that number is. As long, not the R is the object. R is the object. R is just like helping you figure out the random thing, or R is like a dice. But how dice is generating the number, this, whatever dice has generated, is this next is holding. So we will say while your next is not equal. Yes, exactly. It's not equals to target explanation mark equals to whatever the target value user has suggested. So if this is not true, they are not equal, go inside. If they are equal, the loop will exit. It means we found our target number. If they are not equal, then what? If they are not equal, then what? Count plus plus. Yes, that's one thing. Count plus plus, that one piece of it. What else? Oh, we have not generated or created a count. So create count outside of the loop. And you can create anywhere int count, as is just a counter variable, set it as 0 and semicolon. So count plus plus, and keep on generating the random, right? Keep on generating this next value will be changed, and keep on printing it. We want to print the value as well. So system.out.print, we will do print because they were in one line. We will not do ln, double quotation mark, the value, the random numbers are, let's say, the random numbers are colon space. No, it's going to print again and again. So let's just print the number. Let's just print the number. And who knows the number? It's next. Concatenation operator, put a space so that it gives a space. It prints the random number, do the count plus plus, and what else? What else? It do the count plus plus, and then what else? It's just like a dice, right? I got the dice. This next is printed. It was not equals to 3. Let's say my target is 3 and it was 5. What next? I need to throw the dice again, right? And if you want to throw the dice again, who's the dice? Who's like throwing the dice? This thing. And you don't do int. You will just take this part because we will not redeclare. The only thing we will do is next, r.next is same thing, throw the dice again. And it will check if that was equals to the target. It was not equals to the target. It will go inside. It will print the number, do the count plus plus, and then throw the dice again. If the dice was equal, whatever, to the target, then what? Come outside of the loop, and we have to do system dot. Oops, I press out dot println. Just doing or making a new line so that it doesn't print on the same line, and then system println target number came after how many tries? We don't know. Concatenation operator, who knows how many tries? Yes, count. And end the statement with a semicolon. No errors so far. Think all set. Should work. Are we missing anything? Take a look. There are no errors. So let's run our code. If there will be error, we will come back and check. Enter the target number. So let's say enter target number, as we were talking about 3 a lot. So target number came after 0 tries. What happened? Something's wrong. What did we miss? Oh, it just came on the 1 try. So How about we do count as 1? We will not set count as 0. We will set it count as 1. We were lucky. We just got 3 on the one attempt. Let's run our code again to confirm that we were not wrong. Enter 3. Next time, oh my God, it took 35 tries to get us 3. Now run the code again. Enter the target number. I have different output, but the code is same. What output are you getting? What do you mean different output? Oh my God, this is too much. How many tries does it take? Oops. Oh my God, console opening. Wait. Anyone having any errors? Oh, my console is something wrong with it. Let's go. Let me stop the code here. So that's fine, Trupin. So it's going to be different. That's why everyone's output will be different. So as this is random, this is everyone's, it's going to be different. We will not get the same output. As long the output code is correct, like it's showing you all the numbers, random number it generates, and it shows you the correct count of all the numbers. So our output, all of our output will be changed because we all are holding a dice in our hand, and when we are throwing the dice, Trupin is getting a different number of times. He's getting the same target number. Tran will get a different number of times, and maybe I get on the very first attempt. Anyone having any other errors or something? I didn't enter 7. Tran, I entered 3, or maybe I accidentally entered 7 or something like that. Everyone, are you doing it on your side? Is your code working? Do a thumbs up or green check if your code is working. Great. Our output will be different, but you just need to make sure that it asks for the target number and it stops at the target number, and you see, excuse me, and you see all the random numbers in between. All set? Anyone having any errors? You want me to move on to our next question? Great. Let me share my screen. Here's my Word document go. This is the one. You can take that part out because we didn't do with the static method. The same code can be done in static methods. Again, static method is not a bigger thing. When we jump onto static method, you will see that all the rest previous coding you have done, you can easily put it in the static method. Okay. Read the question by yourself. I want all of you to read the question and identify what do we need, which loop do we need, how many variables do we need, or how to solve, if anyone can figure out how to solve. This is a somehow repetitive question that you should know at this point, how to do it. So take a look. It's very interesting. Take a look. You have done this like in our last class as well, the same, piece of it. Oh, let me open the chat and participant list. Do you think you can solve this question at your own? Do a cross if not. Oh, great. I see yes and thumbs up. Read the question very carefully. Again, it's a bigger question, but take a look. They have given you the option how the question should work and what should be the output, so that when you run your code, you can enter these values every time and you can see if you are getting the same value return or same value in the output. We have done this question to solve this question multiple times in different multiple ways, but this is just a new piece has been added. What time is it? We have 10 minutes left. Take a screenshot. Has everyone read the question? We aren't allowed to use a string. You don't need a string. Or you were putting it into a string and using the indexes. It says at the last, you're not allowed to use the string. Just giving you a hint if someone is trying to do it at their own. It's the same mod operator and the division operator. You need to chop down the values and take a look. Take a screenshot of the question so that when I refer to the question back and forth, I don't have to switch the screen again and again. So you have the question in front of you. Ready? All set? Okay, let's jump on to Eclipse. Okay, so whenever I switch and share my chat and participant, let's just go with, okay. I'll be using the same class. Have you taken a screenshot of the code and have the code with you? Take a screenshot if you were not coding with me so that you can work on this question later. I'm removing the code. Okay. Now, how to solve? Do you think we need a loop? Put it in the chat. Do you think we need a loop? Yes, which loop? A while loop? Yes, a while loop, because we don't know if user entered a bigger number, a 4-digit number, or a 5-digit number, or a single number, right? So that's why we need while loop. We don't know how big the number is going to be. And are we getting anything from the user? Are we taking anything from the user? What we are taking as an input from the user. That's your first starting point to get started. What we are taking an int value. We are taking an int value from user. So let's type system.out.println. We can just say enter a value or enter a number, anything. Then int n equals to input dot next int. This is all previously must be on your fingertips, how to take a number from user. Now, after taking the number from user, now what is our next task? Do we know how big the number is? No. Then what is our strategy? What do we need? This number can be a 0, can be 5, can be 6. So if you take a look at the question, digit range, what basically that question was doing, for example, if you have 65, so that's your n, and n equals to 65, what will be the output? According to the question, if n is 65, what is your output? Output is 1. The reason is it's taking 6, the highest number, and 5, the lowest number, and doing the subtraction. And whatever the output is, that's the answer. So if that was for 2-digit, if you have a single digit 5, the answer is 0. If you have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, the answer is 0, right? For 10, you have 1. And if you have 2 digits, so it's easy. You just take the 1 digit, the other one, whoever is the bigger, you just subtract and you display the output. But if you have n equals to 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, what will be the output? 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. That is your n. What is the output? It's going to be 4. The reason is what you are basically doing in this question is taking the lowest number and the highest number from that digit, chopping it out, like figuring out who's the highest, who's the lowest, and basically finding the minimum and maximum in that digit, and then at the end subtract max minus min, and that's the answer. Got it? Now it means, as I mentioned, max and min, so it means we need 2 variables, int max and we need int min. So by default, what values do you think this max and min will hold? Because if you say int max, you can hold maximum maybe 100 or 1000. Is that right? No digit can be replaced with that number, right? So int max, what? We don't know what this n is holding. So we will do int max. How you chop it down? How you chop down the number? How you take the last digit? How you take the last digit? Mod 10. We do n mod 10. So whatever the last digit, or maybe it's a single digit, it will give the value, maximum value to n mod 10 to our max. And for minimum, how to figure out the minimum? Same, right? We'll take the same. N mod 10. Now, after we have taken the numbers, this ensures that at least we have a 2-digit number, maybe. Our while loop comes in here. While what? How long you want to run the code, the loop? While what? As long what? What will be your while loop condition when you want this loop to stop? N is greater than 0. That is correct. As long your n is greater than 0, it means keep on running. It means we have some digits to chop it down or maybe check. So now you have the max, the min. We are assuming that our n is equals to 6, 5, 6, 2, 3, 4, something like this. This is our n. Let's assume this is our n, and it will keep on checking. So your max is holding basically 4, your min is holding 3. Now inside, what you want, this means it is n is 0, greater than 0. It means if it was a 2-digit, it will not go. It automatically chop it down, and your n is greater than 0. Then what? Now what? We need to update our n in our case as well, and we need to get the values. So int digit, let's say you are equals to n mod 10, and update your n so that it reduce and meet the while loop condition. And how to reduce? You do divided by 10 to keep the rest of the amount or the number safe. Our condition, we need to figure out which one is the maximum number in our whole digit and which one is the minimum. We have to go through the whole digit scenario as long we have digits. So if what? The digit is less than min, right? If the digit is less than min, then what? Then, come on, use the chat. We don't have time. If digit is less than min, yes, min is equals to digit, assign the minimum number, and we will not use else. We will use another if, because if you use else, what will happen? Same scenario, we will do maybe that digit is greater than max. So we will say max, you are equals to digit. And at the end, after this loop, we will have our min and max identified, and we will say this is our if, and this is where our, let me write it down. this is where my while loop ends. So after it ends, it means we have found the max and min, and system.out.println, the difference. I don't know what was the exact statement in the question. The difference is, and space and concatenation operator. You can just simply say max minus min is the answer. Simple. This was the thing. This stuff you have been doing again and again. The only thing was figuring out the max and min and the loop part here. Okay, so let's run our code and see if our solution is correct. Enter a value. Let's say if I if I enter 65, the difference is 1, this which is correct. Let's again 5, 6, 7, 3, 4, and the difference is 4. How? It took the highest number and the lowest number and did the subtraction. So 7 minus 3, it's 4. Any questions so far on this? Anyone who is confused at any point? Anyone who's like, I want to repeat, or does it make sense, the solution? You get the pen. Do you want to do a dry run, or you're all set? I understand how the code works. It's clear. Great. Okay, then our time is absolutely up. So take a screenshot of the code. Make sure the code works on your end as well. We had more class time in order to figure it out for ourselves. We don't have that much class time, but I wish we had. The one thing I can do is I can post in the announcement some practice questions similar to this, which you can figure it out at your own later. And in our next class, before the class start, I can share this the solution, and you can see that if your solution was correct or not. How that sound? Okay, find questions. Okay, post questions. I will just post like 1 or 2 so that you can check if the understanding that if you have figured out how to use the random. There's a heads and tail random thing, a random question which I can share, and you can work on it later or maybe after class if you have time. But yeah, if you have any questions related to this, do let me know. Usually, I would just share one thing that I know it's hard to figure out the solution in like 10 minutes, or we don't have that much time. The only thing we can do is as a class, we can participate. Like, I think there's be a while loop. I think there should be a mod operator, or this is how I was thinking. But before coming to the class, make sure you watch the lectures. On for loop and while loop, I have done different programming questions. So do watch those videos and pause it, and before looking at the solution, and try to do it by yourself, and then watch the full video where I'm doing the solution. That's why I have created multiple videos because of this time frame. Okay, so I have take a look at those programming questions, pause the video, and try to solve those programming questions.